Well, there's been a whole series of rather negative stories as it comes to the old DCU, and it seems like along with Aquaman, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, it has its own set of challenges. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about what's going on with Fury of the Gods and why the box office tracking for it is alarming. Well, as many of you know, we're on the final countdown to the release of the second Shazam movie, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Now, obviously, everything at DC Studios is completely in flux, but this film was completed before the new DC Studios was formed, and it's set to be released in just a couple of weeks. Now, the future of the character is completely up in the air, but Zach Levi has said a few times that he believes the future of the franchise completely hinges on the upcoming sequel's success at the box office, and this might be a big problem. If many of you remember, Black Adam really didn't do so great at the box office, and the numbers were quite honestly really bad. And sadly, it appears the big red cheese might be headed in the same direction. We've got a set of forecasts that come from Box Office Pro, and they're one of the services that track opening weekends and try to give us some estimates on how the films are going to do based on pre-sales and other factors. Now, according to them, right now the film is tracking between $43 and $52 million for its opening weekend in North America. Now, honestly, guys, that is really, really bad. $52 million wouldn't even match the opening weekend of the first Shazam movie, which honestly was not a huge success and only crawled its way up to $363 million worldwide. The film was profitable and had positive reviews, which is why we got the sequel. So it's really sort of weird why the sequel seems to be tracking so low going into its opening weekend. Honestly, I think there are multiple factors here playing into why the movie seems to be opening so weakly. First and foremost, it's been 4 years, and honestly, interest in the franchise may have waned because DC waited too long to release the sequel. As many of you remember, this film was already delayed, and I actually do think that really did hurt the enthusiasm for the film, and many fans have simply moved on to greener pastures because DC waited so long. You also have the simple fact that DC has a perceived full-on reboot coming our way, and for many fans, this will make them not want to spend their money on a project for a story that doesn't seem to matter. I think this isn't really anybody's fault and something Gunn and DC Studios knew they were going to have to weather, but at this point, it's probably unavoidable. Additionally, I think how they handled Black Adam and the separation between the franchises probably also hurt the movie. Honestly, Black Adam was pretty poorly received, and it only did $67 million on its opening weekend, which was a huge disappointment on a much bigger budget, leading to that series of shenanigans involving Henry Cavill, and eventually The Rock basically leaving the project. I think all of this bad press has absolutely hurt Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and may ultimately sandbag the Zach Levi franchise altogether. Now, these aren't the worst releases DC Studios has done. We obviously had the pandemic releases with Wonder Woman 84 and the Suicide Squad, which were both under $30 million, and Birds of Prey actually did a bit less than $50 million, but this is supposed to be a Shazam movie. It has a bigger budget, and honestly, it looks like much more of a spectacle, meaning they need a better return on their investment. Now, the possible good news is, if it does have really good reviews, well, there's not much competition leading into that weekend. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was the last big release, meaning the film should absolutely hit #1 on its opening weekend. The main problems I see is John Wick 4 and Dungeons & Dragons come out in the weeks following, and honestly, Warner Bros. Discovery has had a horrible marketing campaign for this film, not really putting it in front of audiences, which may have also directly impacted how bad it looks like it's going to do. We're going to have to wait till the opening weekend, March 17th, to really find out what's happening with Fury of the Gods. I love Zach Levi in this role. I think the movies are fun, they're kind of wholesome and something different than everything else, so I really would hate to see them fall and flounder at the end. If this movie does fail, I do believe it's the end of Zach as that character, and we'll see the whole Captain Marvel mythos probably return sometime in Chapter 2 of the DCU, but we'll have to wait and see.